Hello, it's Tom Donald from the London Contemporary School of Piano. Today I'm going to show you how to compose your own chord progressions. And if you're a fan of our work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, do head on over to our website, find out how you can book a discovery session to get some one-to-one coaching to really elevate your piano playing to the next level. And we offer one-to-one coaching all over the world for students all over the world with our online systems and our fantastic piano coaches. We're a small team, so there's often a waiting list, a team of teachers that are totally dedicated to the learning and development of great music education. They're not just great musicians, they're great educators as well. Very rare find, by the way. You're not going to find teachers that are that combination in many places. And we've been developing this for the last 20 years. So today's video, I brought back the cup. You remember this? By the way, don't do this at home. Don't put a cup on the piano at home, particularly if it's got liquids on it, because this is not a drink stand. So be very clear on that. So how do we compose chord progressions at the piano? Because I think it's a really useful way to learn chords, even if you don't have any aspirations to compose music. It's really good to do what I call keep a chord diary. And what I mean by that is just composing and noodling around with different types of chord progressions. It's a really important thing to do because it helps you understand and build a relationship with chords and harmony. Now, the one mistake we're going to try and avoid today is most students, or many students, when they go to compose chord progressions, is they go straight to the theory book. Now, there's nothing wrong with the theory book. Yes, there's 7 chords in a functional scale. Yes, chords 1, 4, and 5 are major. Chords 2, 3, and 6 are minor. Chord 7's diminished. Yes. That is all true. But we don't necessarily overdrive that information if we're going to try and compose something that's actually interesting. Otherwise, we're just going to compose textbook music, and that's not going to be very interesting. Music is not meant to be, okay, I'm just going to write a piece using chords 1, 4, and 5, and there's lots of, and I'm going to follow some rules. That's not how music ever came to be composed by the actual composers. So why would we use a methodology that they didn't even necessarily use? We want to play around with what can be done with harmony. So we're going to expand on what we did on that last video, if you remember it, and you can watch it. We'll put the link up. How to play random chord progressions on the piano and make them sound beautiful. We're going to expand on that, but this time we're going to modify the progressions because I was just picking out random chords out of a hat, and they weren't that random in the end because there is no such thing as random in music theory. Whatever you put together will collapse into some tonal center of some sort, which is what that video proved. But this time we're going to get the 4 random chords that there is no such thing as out of the cup, and then we're going to modify them a bit. And I'll be modifying them in my own way, using my own composer's ear, because I have my own preferences of what I think sounds good and what works. I will have certain chords I'm biased towards and certain chords I like more than others. And that's what composing is about. You're starting to build your own preferences, a little bit like how you would decorate furniture in your own house, how you would decorate your own house. That's a totally subjective thing, but I will use some objective analysis where possible in bringing these progressions together. So the first chord I'm drawing out is a D flat major 7. I can't believe I think I drew that one out in the last video. I did mix these up, I promise. Then we got an E major 7. We got a random slash chord here, an F over a G, and then a B minor 7. Okay. So I'm going to start with these 4 random chords, and then we're going to develop them a little bit more and create our own chord progression. So here we go. D flat major 7. I will be using some inversions. E major 7. F major over the G. B minor. So if I work with those 4 chords, I'm just going to play with them for a while. So maybe I'll modify one of these chords. Now, I really like the first two chords here, the D flat major 7. I love how that went to an E major 7. I love the relationship between those two chords. I'm going to think of this piece as in D flat major. I'm going to analyze it as if I were in D flat major. So that E major 7 is like the flattened third of the scale. And then the F over a G. I think what I didn't like about that was it made too much starker contrast from the E major 7. So to make it tie in more with the overall narrative of those first two chords, which were major 7s, I'm going to make the F an F major 7 as well, with a G in the bass. And I think that just ties them, they string together a bit nicely. Generally, if you play a string of 7th chords, they tie together quite nicely. Now I could go for a more predictable ending there. The B minor 7, it's not random, it's just less predictable. I quite like it actually, but maybe I'll do that later. Maybe I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to do that the second time. The first time I'm going to be a little more predictable, because an F major 7 over a G, I can hear that moving somewhere else. I can hear that moving to a C major 7. Now you'll get this when you're composing chord progressions. You will hear something in your head and then you've got to find it. There's a challenge for you. It takes a while to learn to do that. You've got to sort of go, well, where is it? Search for the chord. So, and that's another great reason to keep a chord diary, is you're drawing a path, and my mind was heading towards that C major 7. It really wanted it. So I'll have it. But I also liked that B minor 7, so I'm going to bring that back a second time. So I'm going to play the progression like this: D major 7, E major 7, F over G to C major 7 for that nice modulation to C major. And then I'll go back to the D flat major, E major 7, F major over the G, and then I'll finish on the more mysterious B minor 7. Let's see what we think of it. I really like that progression. Just that one little change of that variation just gave me something to work with, and creating that extra major 7 chord. So I got something that started out as quite, just apparently random, but we ended up moving it into different directions there. And I could really hear a melody coming out of that. And if you feel the urge to sing when you're playing chord progressions, maybe there's a song in your head, a song that hasn't fulfilled itself. So all right, that's our first progression. Let's go with a second. That's a blank piece of paper. I don't know what that's doing in there. Here we go. We've got F minor, G minor 7, and now we got, an F minor 7 with a flattened 5. That's a half diminished chord. An E flat 7. Certainly not the chords I would go to just in that sequence, but let me use that as a starting point. So we've got F minor, G minor 7. It's a nice change. I'm going to make the F minor an F minor 7 as well, because that just, they tie together a bit nicely. Yeah, much nicer than just one being a minor triad and the other one being a 7th. Then we had an F minor 7 with the flattened 5 in it. It's a very mysterious sound, that chord. And then we got an E flat 7. Now I like these 4 chords, but do they have to go in that order? Let's see. like to stay on that E flat 7. I've turned it into an E flat 9. I've made a little riff out of that. Well, why don't we start somewhere else though? I quite like that F sharp half diminished, but I feel like I want it at the beginning. Maybe make it a bit more mysterious at the beginning. Then I'll go to the F minor, then to the G minor 7, and then I'll finish on the E flat 7. I want to see what that does to the progression. See, I like that change because that half diminished melts beautifully into the F minor 7. So the sequencing of your chords can make a really big difference. You're mixing them around a little bit more in different orders. That feels right now. And if you head on over to our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, we have a little cheat sheet of random chords, and you can literally cut them out and put them in a hat like I'm doing today and start playing around with these experiments. Have some fun with it.